I found photos of myself sleeping on my phone. Photos I didn't take. That was just the first clue of what was happening in my apartment at night. This happened to me between March and June of 2023. I've been in therapy for over a year now, and my therapist suggested that writing it down might help me process it. I'm still not sure I've processed it. I'm not sure I ever will. I need to tell someone what happened, even if it's just strangers on the internet. Maybe someone else has experienced something similar. Maybe someone can explain the parts that still don't make sense. I should start by saying I'm a pretty rational person. I have a degree in engineering. I troubleshoot problems for a living. I don't believe in ghosts or conspiracies or anything like that. But what happened to me? I still can't fully explain it, and the parts one can explain are somehow worse than the parts one can't. It started when I moved into a studio apartment in a college town in eastern Washington state. I'd just gotten a new job after graduation and needed a place fast. The apartment was perfect, or so I thought. Top floor of a converted house, big windows, hardwood floors, and most importantly, it was $300 below market rate. The landlord, an older guy named Dennis, said he was giving me a deal because I seemed responsible, and he liked helping out young professionals. I should have known better. There's always a reason. The apartment was in a quiet neighborhood, mostly grad students and young families. Dennis lived in the unit directly below mine. He owned the whole building. He seemed nice enough at first. A little chatty, maybe, always finding reasons to check on things, or asking if everything was working okay. He mentioned he was recently divorced, that his kids were grown and never visited. I felt a little sorry for him, honestly. I moved in on March 3, 2023. A Friday. I remember because I took the day off work to get settled. The first few weeks. Everything was fine at first. Normal. I worked from home 2 days a week, went into the office the other 3. I'd cook dinner, watch Netflix, fall asleep around 11 p.m. My life was boring in the best way, quiet, predictable, mine. Dennis would text me occasionally about minor building issues. Water will be shut off Tuesday for repairs. Package delivered to my door for you. Normal landlord stuff. He always signed his messages with D, which felt a little odd but not alarming. The first strange thing happened in late March, maybe 3 weeks after I'd moved in. I woke up one morning and my phone was on the nightstand facing a different direction than I'd left it. I always plugged it in with the screen facing up. That morning it was face down. I probably spent 5 seconds thinking about it before shrugging it off. Maybe I'd moved it in my sleep. A few days later, I couldn't find my spare apartment key. I'd kept it in a dish by the door, but it wasn't there. I looked everywhere. Coat pockets, purse, junk drawer. Nothing. It bothered me, but I figured I'd misplaced it during the chaos of moving in. I made a mental note to ask Dennis for another copy. Then my Netflix started showing shows in my continue watching queue that I'd never watched. Some true crime documentary. I thought maybe there was a glitch or my account had been hacked. I changed my password and didn't think much more about it. Looking back, I was already making excuses. My brain was already trying to rationalize things that didn't add up. The real horror started on April 8, 2023. I'll never forget that date. I was going through my phone, deleting old photos to free up storage when I found them. 5 photos I didn't remember taking. They were in my camera roll between pictures I'd taken at work and a screenshot of a recipe. The photos were of my apartment, my couch, my kitchen table, my bedroom, but the angle was wrong. They were taken from the doorway of my bedroom, looking in. I could see my bed, my dresser, my laundry basket. In one photo, I could see myself sleeping, just barely, a shape under the covers, my dark hair on the pillow. My hands started shaking. I checked the metadata. They'd been taken at 3:47 a.m. on April 6, 2 nights before. I lived alone. I was the only one with a key. The photos were on my phone. I tried to rationalize it. Maybe I'd gotten up in the night to use the bathroom and accidentally opened my camera? Maybe I'd been half asleep and didn't remember? But I looked at the photos again. They were composed, deliberate. Someone had stood in my bedroom doorway and photographed me sleeping. And it had been me, or at least, my phone. I checked the lock on my door 3 times that night. I pushed my dresser against the bedroom doorway before I went to sleep. I barely slept at all. The next morning, I went through my entire phone. I found more photos. April 4th, 3:22 a.m. A photo of my kitchen counter. My coffee maker. The pills I took for anxiety sitting next to my water glass. March 31st, 2:58 a.m. My bathroom. The shower curtain pulled back. My towel on the hook. March 28th, 4:15 a.m. My bedroom again. This one was closer. I could see my face. My closed eyes. My slightly parted lips. I felt sick. I actually ran to the bathroom and threw up. 15 photos total, going back almost to when I'd moved in. All taken between 2 a.m. and 5 a.m. All on my phone. All showing my apartment, my things, me. I tried to think logically. Could someone else be accessing my phone? But it was password protected. Face ID. And it was always either in my hand, in my purse, or on my nightstand when I slept. The photos had to have been taken by someone holding my phone, in my apartment, while I was sleeping. But I would have woken up. Wouldn't I? I called my best friend, Maya. Told her everything. She was worried, told me to call the police immediately. But what would I tell them? That I had photos on my phone that I didn't remember taking? That someone broke into my apartment without leaving any signs of forced entry, took pictures of me sleeping using my own phone, then put it back. They'll think I'm crazy, I said, or that I took them myself and forgot. That I'm sleepwalking or something. Better they think you're crazy than you end up dead, Maya said. She had a point. I called the non-emergency line. Explained the situation to a dispatcher who sounded skeptical but told me an officer would come by. Officer Chen arrived around 2 p.m. Young guy, probably not much older than me. I showed him the photos, explained about the missing key, the moved phone, the Netflix shows I hadn't watched. He wrote everything down, but I could see it in his eyes. He thought I was paranoid. Maybe on drugs. Maybe having some kind of breakdown. Have you been under a lot of stress recently? He asked. New job, new place? I'm not making this up, I said. I'm not saying you are. But sleepwalking is more common than people think. And phone glitches happen. Sometimes apps open accidentally. I know what I saw. He looked at the photos again. These could have been taken accidentally. Phones in pockets, touchscreens are sensitive. But he agreed to file a report. He also suggested I change my locks and maybe set up a camera. After he left, I felt more alone than ever. He didn't believe me. Nobody would. That afternoon, I went to Target and bought a Wise camera. $30. I set it up pointed at my bedroom door, connected it to the app on my phone, and turned on motion detection. I also texted Dennis asking about changing the locks. He responded within minutes. Is everything okay? D. Just want to update them. Feel more secure. Of course. I'll have a locksmith come Thursday. Everything okay though? You seem worried. D. The fact that he picked up on my worry through text message felt intrusive somehow. But I told myself I was being paranoid. All good, thanks. Let me know if you need anything. I'm right downstairs. D. I stared at that last message for a long time. That night, I could barely sleep. I kept checking the camera app on my phone, watching the live feed of my empty doorway. Nothing happened. Around 1 a.m., I finally dozed off. I woke up at 7 a.m. to 17 motion detection alerts. My heart was already pounding as I opened the app. The first alert was from 3:02 a.m. The footage showed my bedroom door opening slowly. A figure stepped into frame. It was me. I watched myself walk into my own bedroom, moving oddly, stiffly, like I wasn't fully awake. I stood in the doorway for almost 30 seconds, just standing there, swaying slightly. Then I raised my phone and took a photo. I watched myself do it. I watched myself take a picture of myself sleeping. Then I watched myself walk back out, closing the door behind me. The next 16 alerts showed the same thing. Me, entering my bedroom every few minutes, taking photos, leaving. Over and over. For 2 hours. I don't remember any of it. I made an emergency appointment with my doctor. Showed her the videos. Told her everything. She referred me to a sleep specialist, Dr. Sarah Kim, who could see me that afternoon. Apparently my doctor called ahead and said it was urgent. Dr. Kim listened to everything, watched the videos, asked detailed questions about my sleep, my stress levels, my medical history. Have you ever been diagnosed with a parasomnia? She asked. What's that? Sleep disorders involving abnormal movements or behaviors during sleep. Sleepwalking, sleep terrors, that sort of thing. No, never. I've never sleepwalked in my life. She nodded, making notes. It's possible for adult-onset sleepwalking to develop during periods of high stress. New job, new living situation, these are significant life changes. But the photos started right after I moved in. Like, within the first week. That aligns with the stress timeline, she said. We should do a sleep study. Get you in for overnight monitoring. But the first available appointment wasn't for 3 weeks. In the meantime, she prescribed something to help me sleep more soundly, ironically, to prevent sleepwalking, and suggested I remove any potential hazards from my bedroom. Lock your phone in a drawer, she said. Keep your keys in a lockbox. Make your environment as safe as possible. I wanted to ask her why I'd suddenly developed this condition right after moving into a new place. Why I'd only take photos of myself. Why it felt so deliberate, so intentional. But I was exhausted, and I wanted to believe there was a rational explanation. I followed Dr. Kim's instructions. Phone locked in my dresser drawer, key in a small safe I bought, camera running. That night, April 12th, I slept better than I had in weeks, probably because of the medication. No motion alerts, no mysterious photos. I started to feel hopeful. But the next night, it got worse. At 2:47 a.m., I woke up to the sound of my dresser drawer opening. I was lying in bed, fully conscious, completely awake. I heard the drawer slide open. Heard rustling. Then I heard footsteps, footsteps, walking around my room. I couldn't move. I literally could not move my body. I could see, I could hear, but my muscles wouldn't respond. I tried to scream and nothing came out. I watched myself, or what looked like me, walk to my closet and open it. Stand there, looking in. Then close it and walk back to the dresser. Put something back, close the drawer. Then I turned and looked directly at the bed. At me. Her eyes were open but wrong. Empty, flat, like looking at a mannequin. She walked toward the bed and I wanted to scream, wanted to run, but I couldn't move, couldn't breathe. Then I blinked and it was morning. 7:15 a.m., sunlight streaming through my windows. I checked the camera footage. At 2:43 a.m., I got up, opened my dresser drawer, walked around for 6 minutes doing exactly what I'd watched myself do. Then I got back into bed. But I'd been awake. I'd watched it happen. I'd been awake inside my body while something else controlled it. I spent the entire day researching sleep paralysis, parasomnia, dissociative disorders. I went down every rabbit hole I could find. Some of it fit. Sleep paralysis would explain why I couldn't move. But it didn't explain the photos, the videos, the absolute certainty I'd felt that I was awake and aware. I found forums where people described similar experiences. Watching themselves do things, feeling trapped in their own bodies. But most of them were talking about dreams, about hallucinations, about the confused state between sleeping and waking. This felt different. This felt real. That afternoon, my phone buzzed. A text from Dennis. Locksmith coming tomorrow at 10 a.m. I'll let him in if you're at work. D. I'd forgotten about the locks. I'll work from home tomorrow. Thanks. You sure? I don't mind being here. D. I'm sure. Something about his insistence bothered me. But then again, everything bothered me lately. The locksmith arrived at 9:45 a.m. on April 14th. I'd taken the day off work, too anxious to focus on anything else. He was professional, efficient, and had the locks changed in under an hour. I watched him the entire time. As he was leaving, Dennis appeared in the hallway. Everything go okay? He asked. Fine. All set. Good, good. He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. You've seemed stressed lately. Is everything all right? Work going okay? Work's fine. Sleeping all right? I know you've been moving around up here at night. The old floors creak. My blood went cold. You can hear me walking around? Oh, just occasionally. These old houses, you know. I'm a light sleeper anyway since the divorce. Don't worry about it. He smiled again. Just want to make sure you're okay. You're a good tenant. After he left, I stood in my apartment, feeling watched. The walls suddenly felt thin, transparent. He could hear me at night. He knew I'd been walking around. What else did he know? I called Maya and told her everything. The sleepwalking, the sleep paralysis, what Dennis had said. Get out, she said immediately. Come stay with me, tonight. I can't break my lease. I can't afford to pay rent 2 places. Then sleep on my couch until you figure it out. Seriously, this is freaking me out. She was right. Something was wrong. Whether it was medical, psychological, or something else, I needed to leave that apartment. I started packing a bag. I'd stay at Maya's for a few days, clear my head, figure out next steps. As I was packing, my phone buzzed. Text from Dennis. Noticed your car is still here. Taking a sick day? D. I hadn't told him I was home. I looked out my window, his car was gone. He wasn't even in the building. How did he know my car was here? Another text. Sorry if that was weird. I was just driving by on my way to Home Depot. Saw your car and wanted to check you were okay. D. But I'd seen his car leave an hour ago. I'd watched him drive away. I grabbed my bag and walked out of the apartment. I needed to leave, right now. The discovery. As I was locking my door, my newly changed lock, I noticed something. A thin piece of transparent tape on my doorframe, right at eye level. I wouldn't have seen it except the light hit it at just the right angle. I peeled it off carefully. It was almost invisible. The kind of tape you might use to see if someone had opened a door. It would break or shift if the door was opened and closed. Dennis had been monitoring my door, checking if I came and went. How long had this been here? Had he put it back after the locksmith left? I took photos of the tape, the doorframe, everything. Then I went downstairs and knocked on Dennis's door. No answer. I tried the handle, locked, obviously. But through the small window next to his door, I could see his living room. And on his wall, partially visible, was what looked like a bulletin board covered in papers. I cupped my hands around my eyes and pressed against the glass, trying to see better. Photos. Printed photos. Lots of them. And I could see enough to recognize them. They were the same photos from my phone. Me sleeping. My apartment. Printed out and pinned to a board on his wall. I pulled out my phone to take a picture and that's when I heard a car pull into the driveway. Dennis's car. I ran. Just straight up ran back to my apartment, locked the door, pushed my couch against it. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely hold my phone to call 911. 911. What's your emergency? My landlord has been. I stopped. What could I say? That he'd been monitoring my door? That he had photos? Photos that were technically from my own phone? Ma'am, what's your emergency? I think someone's been in my apartment. My landlord. I saw photos of me in his apartment. The dispatcher asked for my address, told me officers were on the way, stayed on the line with me. I heard Dennis come up the stairs. Heard him stop outside my door. Everything okay in there? He called. I saw you at my door. Did you need something? I didn't answer. I'm worried about you, he said through the door. You've been acting strange. The sleepwalking, the paranoia, changing the locks. Are you taking something? Do you need help? The police are coming, I said. Silence. Then. Why? You know why. I really don't. He sounded genuinely confused. Concerned, even. Please, let's talk about this. Whatever you think is happening. You have photos of me. In your apartment. Another pause. Longer this time. You saw those? Yes. They're from your phone, he said. You sent them to me. I never sent you anything. You did. Starting about a month ago. Middle of the night, you'd send me photos and messages. You said you were worried you were sleepwalking. That you needed someone to monitor you, to keep you safe. Don't you remember? I felt like the ground was tilting beneath me. That's not true. Check your messages. Check your sent folder. I pulled up my message thread with Dennis with shaking hands. Scrolled up past the recent messages about locks and water shutoffs. And there they were. Messages I didn't remember sending. Starting March 23rd, 3:14 a.m. I think something's wrong with me. I woke up in my kitchen and don't remember getting there. March 26th, 2:47 a.m., with 2 photos attached. My bathroom. My kitchen. It's happening again. Can you check on me? Make sure I'm okay? March 30th, 4:02 a.m. I'm scared. I think I'm leaving my apartment at night. I don't know where I'm going. Message after message. Photos. Confused, frightened texts. All sent by me, from my phone, to Dennis. And his responses, always concerned, always offering to help. I'm here if you need anything. Maybe see a doctor? D. Please take care of yourself. I'm worried about you. D. I'm printing these to document in case you need them for medical purposes. D. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't think. The police are here, Dennis said from the hallway. I'm going to let them in. Please, let's talk to them together. I want to help you. The police, again. 2 officers this time. Officer Chen, the same one from before, and his partner, Officer Rodriguez. They came up to my apartment. I let them in, showed them everything. The messages, the photos, the camera footage of me sleepwalking. I didn't send those messages, I said. I didn't take those photos. Someone else did, but even as I said it, I could hear how it sounded. Dennis stood in my doorway, looking worried and sad. She's been having episodes, he told the officers. Sleepwalking, confusion. I've been trying to help, but I think she needs medical attention. Do you have documentation of her giving you permission to monitor her? Officer Rodriguez asked. The messages, Dennis said. She asked me to watch out for her, to help keep her safe. But I don't remember sending them. Officer Chen gave me a sympathetic look. The kind you'd give someone who's sick, confused. Ms. Chen mentioned you'd filed a report before. About the photos on your phone. This is different, is it? Officer Rodriguez asked, not unkindly. You have videos of yourself taking photos. You have messages from your own phone asking for help. Have you seen the sleep specialist yet? The appointment isn't for 2 more weeks. Maybe we should call for an ambulance, Officer Chen said quietly to his partner. Welfare check. I'm not crazy, I shouted. Something is wrong, but I'm not. Dennis stepped into the apartment, hands raised in a calming gesture. Nobody thinks you're crazy, but you need help, professional help. Let them take you to the hospital. Please. I looked at the officers. At Dennis. At the messages on my phone that I didn't remember sending. What if they were right? What if I was having some kind of breakdown? What if I'd been doing all of this, the photos, the messages, everything, and just couldn't remember? I'll go stay with my friend, I said finally. Maya, I'll go to her place right now, and I'll see my doctor tomorrow. Please, I don't need an ambulance. I just need to leave. The officers looked at each other. Dennis. That seems reasonable, Dennis said. Maybe a change of environment would help. Officer Rodriguez nodded. We'll follow you to your friend's place. Make sure you get there safe. Maya lives 40 minutes away. I threw my already packed bag in my car and drove, watching the police cruiser follow me the entire way. When I pulled up to Maya's apartment building, Officer Chen got out and walked me to her door. Get some rest, he said. See your doctor. Take care of yourself. Maya hugged me tight as soon as the officers left. What the hell happened? I told her everything. Showed her the messages, the photos, the videos. She watched me sobbing on her couch, my whole understanding of reality crumbling. Stay here as long as you need, she said. We'll figure this out. I slept in her guest room that night. No camera, no phone. I'd shut it off completely. I slept for 11 hours straight. No sleepwalking, no episodes, no photos. I stayed with Maya for a week. Every night, I slept soundly. No strange behaviors. No missing time. Nothing. During the day, I started going through everything methodically. I looked at the metadata on the messages I'd supposedly sent. The photos. Everything. And I found something. The messages had been sent from my phone, yes. But according to the location data, they'd been sent from inside my apartment building, but not from my unit. The GPS coordinates were slightly off, about 40 feet southeast of my apartment. Directly below, from Dennis's unit. Someone had accessed my phone while in Dennis's apartment and sent those messages. I checked the photos next. Same thing. The location data showed they'd been taken in my apartment, but uploaded to my cloud storage from Dennis's unit. I took screenshots of everything. Documented it all. Then I did something I probably shouldn't have done. I created a new Reddit account and posted my story to our legal advice. Within hours, I had dozens of responses. The overwhelming consensus. Get a lawyer. File a restraining order. Document everything. And under no circumstances go back to that apartment alone. Several people shared similar stories. Landlords with access to apartments. Technology being used for surveillance. Phone cloning, where someone creates a mirror of your device. One comment stuck with me. If he had access to your apartment during the day, he could have unlocked your phone while you were sleeping, used your Face ID, and installed spyware. He could have been controlling your phone remotely, making it do things, send things, even take photos, all while it was technically you doing it because it was your device. I called Officer Chen directly and told him what I'd found. To his credit, he listened. I'd like to come in and show you the location data, I said. And I want to file a formal complaint. He agreed to meet me at the station the next morning. Maya came with me. I brought my laptop, phone, printouts of everything. Officer Chen looked at the data for a long time. Called over Officer Rodriguez. Then a detective, Detective Sarah Martinez. This is compelling, Detective Martinez said. But I want to be clear, it's not definitive proof. Location data can be off, especially in multi-unit buildings. GPS isn't always accurate. But combined with everything else, I started. Combined with everything else, it warrants a further investigation, she said. We'll need your permission to examine your phone. Check for spyware, remote access applications. We'll also need to talk to Mr. Dennis again. What about the apartment? Can you search it? We'd need a warrant for that. And I'll be honest, what we have might not be enough for a judge. But we'll try. It took another week. A week of staying at Maya's, sleeping with a baseball bat next to the bed, jumping at every sound. But finally, Detective Martinez called. We found spyware on your phone. Remote access software. It would have allowed someone with the right access to view your screen, send messages, take photos, all without you knowing. We also found evidence that your phone was regularly connecting to a network we traced back to your landlord's unit. So I was right. He was. We're bringing him in for questioning. And we have enough now for a warrant. We're searching his apartment today. I wasn't there for the search, but Detective Martinez called me that evening and asked if I could come to the station. Maya drove me. In an interview room, Detective Martinez showed me photos taken during the search of Dennis's apartment. The bulletin board I'd seen through the window. But it was worse than I'd thought. So much worse. Dozens of photos, not just of me, but of the previous tenant too. A young woman named Sarah, who'd lived there before me for 6 months. Photos of her sleeping, showering, he'd somehow hidden cameras, getting dressed. Notes about her schedule, her routine, her friends. We contacted Sarah, Detective Martinez said. She reported similar experiences while living there. Sleepwalking episodes that started right after she moved in and stopped as soon as she left. She thought she was losing her mind. She broke her lease and moved out. How many? I asked. How many tenants? We found evidence of at least 3 others before Sarah. He's been doing this for years. Specifically renting to young women living alone. The below market rate was bait. I felt sick. What was he doing? I mean, besides the photos? Detective Martinez hesitated. We found detailed journals. He was documenting everything about your lives. Trying to. He had these elaborate fantasies about protecting you, about being essential to your well-being. When you'd have friends over, when you'd go out, what you'd eat. Everything. Did he? I couldn't finish the question. We don't have evidence of physical assault. The spyware let him control your phone, send messages, take photos. At night, he'd use his key to enter your apartment. He had copies of all the locks made, and he'd move things. Position your phone to take photos. He wanted you to think you were sleepwalking so you'd be dependent on him, reach out to him for help. The sleep paralysis? I asked. That one time I was awake but couldn't move? That may have actually been sleep paralysis. The stress of what was happening could have triggered it. But Dennis might have been in your room that night, which would explain what you saw. The thought of him standing over me while I was paralyzed, helpless. He's being charged with stalking, criminal invasion of privacy, unauthorized computer access, and several other charges. He's in custody now. You're safe. # aftermath. I never went back to that apartment. Maya and her girlfriend helped pack up my things while police were present. I broke my lease. The property management company, horrified by what had happened, let me out without penalty. I moved in with Maya temporarily, then found a new place on the other side of town. Ground floor, security system, new phone, new number. I changed all my passwords, enabled 2-factor authentication on everything, put tape over my laptop camera. The sleep specialist appointment finally came around. Dr. Kim was relieved to hear I hadn't actually developed a parasomnia, but concerned about the trauma of what I'd experienced. Trust your instincts, she said. You knew something was wrong. But I hadn't trusted them. Not really. I'd doubted myself. Let everyone convince me I was sick, confused, imagining things. Dennis pled guilty to multiple charges. He got 8 years. Sarah and 2 of the other previous tenants filed civil suits. I haven't decided yet if I will. It's been 18 months since I moved out of that apartment. I'm doing better. Therapy helps. Maya helps. Time helps. But I still check my phone obsessively for apps I don't recognize. I still examine my doors for tape, my windows for cameras. I still wake up sometimes in the middle of the night, convinced someone is in my room, and have to turn on all the lights to prove to myself I'm alone. I learned that home invasion doesn't always involve broken windows and kicked-in doors. Sometimes it's quieter than that. Sometimes it's someone with a key and bad intentions and the patience to make you think you're losing your mind. I also learned that the scariest monsters are the ones who seem helpful. Who offer you a good deal. Who say they just want to make sure you're okay. Dennis is in prison now, but I still think about him. Wonder what would have happened if I'd never looked through that window. If I'd never noticed the location data. If I'd just accepted that I was sick, that I needed his help. I think about Sarah, about the others who lived there before me. About how we all thought we were going crazy. And I think about all the young women out there right now, living in apartments with landlords who have keys, who seem nice, who offer deals that seem too good to be true. If you're reading this and something feels off about your living situation, trust that feeling. Check your phone for spyware. Check your doors for tampering. Document everything. It's not paranoia if they're really watching you. Update. July 2024. I've been contacted by 2 more women who lived in Dennis's building before the conversion to apartments. He was doing this even when he just had roommates. The case might be reopened to include earlier victims. If you lived at address withheld between 2015 to 2023, please contact the police. I still jump when I hear footsteps above me. I still check my photos every day to make sure there's nothing I don't remember taking. Some fears never really go away. You just learn to live with them.